everyone, it's St. Pam again. Today I wanted to talk about the RvR map that Mark Jacobs announced during the BSC presentation. As I've said previously, it's one of my favorite features of the game. It's something I haven't seen in another game, and I really hope it works out the way that he wants it to. Now, you'll see links in the description so you can find out more information if you want to, as well as the map on my video. Anyway, I'm going to talk about how this could affect RP. First, I'll explain a bit about what is so unique about the map for those of you that may not already be aware of it. The map is not a collection of stable continents as you see in most games, but rather a collection of islands that have been separated in a cataclysm with 3 safe zones that serve for each faction's main city, a starting zone, and emergency supply zone. The intent is that you will be able to claim the islands and draw them together to extend your realm's reach and gain the ability to gather more resources. You'll also be able to build houses on these islands, though doing so may be a bit on the dangerous side. I'll talk about the housing in another stream though. You will also be able to steal islands from other factions to claim for your own. In order to do so, though, you'll have to destroy the stabilizers that are already on them. Now, as the islands move closer together, boat transportation time will be shortened, and eventually you'll be able to build bridges between them. What makes this so interesting for role-playing, in my opinion, is the inconsistent nature of the map. It will be nearly impossible to roleplay having a map that's actually accurate, since the islands won't be in exactly the same place. Sure, you may have a general idea of where they are, but without accurate coordinates, you could find yourself in some interesting situations. Characters could be lost and forced to survive off of unfamiliar lands. They could find themselves in hostile territory without realizing it. Or you could even find yourselves in the middle of water where you thought there was an island. There are so many complex plot points that could be created and played out simply because of this map. Now, I do think there's a downside to it, but it's not really much of one. It can make it difficult to coordinate events if you aren't certain where a particular landmass is going to be. That won't be only difficult for role players, but for non-role players as well. I think, however, that's really a good thing from the role-playing perspective, because it can help to add a bit of realism for a war-torn world. Especially since there will be a certain amount of take and more take between fighting forces as they try to get the upper hand. It's going to be a great feature for military-centric guilds for that reason, I think. At least in my opinion. It will make trying to discuss tactics on how to claim or even retake a certain area interesting, because you won't be certain that you'll be able to reclaim it or that it won't be snatched right from under you. Now, here are some interesting ideas that were given to me during the stream on Twitch, which I'm not just posting the Twitch stream here because I do have some delay issues, at least a minute and a half because of my upload speed. Hopefully I'll be able to fix that soon. I am trying. The first suggestion was by Cyclopia, and that was for a Coast Guard. Now, this may not be something that will really be able to come into play immediately, or if it does, it would likely be in a limited capacity. So far as I am aware, City States is not planning on any sort of ship-to-ship battles at this time, or really any player-controlled boats. Hopefully that's something we'll get in the future, but we'll just have to see. However, it could still be an interesting concept to toy with. I believe that it could be used in a way to literally guard the coasts on foot until such time as we do get water battles, which may not happen. Now, a joking suggestion was that giants could act as toll collectors on bridges. Now, I think this is hilarious and I would love to see something like this in the game. Honestly, it makes me want trolls of some sort. Now, Foggy did tell me that there was a guild in Dayok. I forget what server it was on. But it was called Shadow Clan. And what they did, they were a guild of kobolds that pretty much did that. They had their own language and everything. So really, I hope that we see something like that in this game. Cat Swain asked how I feel about intra-realm disputes. And honestly, I think it's a great thing. I think it's a fantastic idea. Not everyone in the realm is going to get along. There's no way possible I would believe that everyone's going to just think, oh, hey, I'm amazing. This realm is amazing. We're all such awesome friends. It's not going to happen. So you will have infighting. You will have guilds or players trying to get the upper hand against one another. I think that's awesome. I really do. My own guild in WoW had a fairly long ongoing story with a gnome that hated us. Of course, they sort of had a good reason for it. We kind of kidnapped and brainwashed his friend. So, there's that. It seemed like the piratey thing to do at the time, and it was a lot of fun, so I'm going to stick with it. We ended up leaving him in a coffin or something along those lines on the verge of death. I don't know if he survived or not, but that's what we did. Now, my husband did also point out during the stream that bounties are planned, so that should make having rivals pretty easy, and it would be interesting to see how it works. I'm hoping that there'll be a way to do intra-realm bounties. Maybe you can do citizens arrest or something like that. We'll just have to see, but that should add an interesting edge to it. And of course, I'll touch on bounties at another point. Nanolux stated that that if there are player-made towns on islands, which was another question I got, and I could definitely see it happening. But if they do pop up, those islands would be the most offended because a number of the role players would be sitting around the campfire, which is funny, but I really don't think that that's necessarily going to be true. There's a lot of role players out there that are like myself that only fall into the category of role playing around a campfire in a tavern or whatever the case may be, because the game itself forces us to, because it's not really good for open world role play. Myself, I love being out in the world. I love exploring it. I love PvPing all of it. So I'll likely be out in the world exploring and finding some way to role play while I do that. Now, I had someone towards the end, I may be saying the name wrong, but I believe it was Evini. They asked how, sorry about that, I had to pause it briefly, but they asked why I think CU is going to be so good for role-playing. I have mentioned why in the introduction video, but I'll go on and reiterate it here. I think it will be great for role-playing because of the interesting lore and races that are already planned, because of the pen and paper feel that many of the features are meant to have, and because of the interesting map, as well as the ability to build and destroy structures. I mean, you'll be able to go through and slash and burn towns. That's going to be fun, especially from a role-playing perspective. They also asked how I felt about arc age for RP purposes. At the time that I originally answered this question, I had only had a chance to look at the game vaguely. I have had other people mention the game to me, and I will admit that it looks interesting. I'm certain it will have an awesome RP community, and I may even give it a chance at some point. I did not realize at the time that it is free to play. Um, but I've kind of been avoiding looking at other MMOs because of sub costs or the upfront cost of the game itself. Since I backed Camelot Unchained, I'm really just trying to focus my efforts here and play some free to play things. So we'll see. If I do try that game out, then I'll likely make a video about it. Um, I'm not sure or I am sure that there are going to be some great features in it. Now, there may be some questions or suggestions that were made in the stream that I did not touch on here. I chose, as I said, to do a new video here for the time being, since my stream is a little bit slow, and there were several areas where I was silent while I was waiting for more questions or replies. So hopefully I'll be able to change that in the future and just use my Twitch stream here, but we'll have to see how that goes. Anyway, I really appreciate all of you watching. It's been fun so far, and I really hope that that continues on. The support has been amazing from the community, and I just can't express how much I appreciate that. Anyway, thank you all, and I hope you have a great night or day.